What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for Demon Slayer Season 3. This is episode 8, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So overall, this is a pretty good episode. Even, it's mostly focused on the Muichiro Tokito. But yeah, overall I think, overall, the build-up tension, uh, the character development for this character has been done pretty well in this episode so far.
Yeah, I have noticed the pattern with the series is that every time, we get introduced to a new character, we don't really get their backstory until they're in some kind of, a life or death situation, or they're in, a fight, and then we just get their whole backstory.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, how they have been how they've been doing a lot of these characters over the course of the entire series. Same thing with with all the other prior characters, including Rengoku and what was it? What was it? Soundhouse for his name again? I forgot his name again.
Tengen?
Yeah, Tengen. But overall, I think Muichiro's backstory is, I think, one of the best backstories we've seen so far.
Yeah, I liked it. I feel like it had some similarities with, what was it? Was it Genya? The other guy that we got, his backstory earlier. How his family was also assaulted by a demon. He lost. Well, he didn't lose his brother, but his brother is distant from him or something.
Yeah, we still don't know much of their dynamic between Genya and his brother, but we do see we do see the brotherly relationship, or lack thereof, between Muichiro and his brother Yuichiro.
Yeah, that they're twins, but they're also kind of different personality-wise, I guess.
Yeah. So over the course, actually, most of the episode was, of course, focused on not both Muichiro and Yuichiro's backstory. So it's of course revealed that much of where he gets his kindness from is from his father, and of course, unfortunately, he ends up losing both his mother and father due to his mother falling ill to some kind of disease, and their father due to him going out in a harsh storm trying to get herbs for their mother, but he ends up falling down a cliff because of it. And so after that, both him and his brother ends up being orphaned soon after that.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much just live on their own for a while, and then one of the, I forget her name, that woman from the Demon Slayer Corps comes to visit them, and
I think her name is Amane.
Yeah, Amane, and she tells them that I guess they're from some kind of a long line of swordsmen, and that I guess she'd be interested in having them join the Demon Slayer Corps, and Muchira,
Yuichiro.
Yeah, his brother drives her away because he doesn't want anything to do with them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we already get much of Yuichiro's personality in this one. Unlike his his brother, who is more kind-hearted, he's a bit more cynical in terms of how he viewed his parents' death, saying that that their mother should have informed them much sooner about her illness, and it was foolish of their father to go out in the storm to try to get herbs for them.
Yeah.
And this of course leads into both Yuichiro and Muichiro just pretty much splitting apart, and just pretty much not talking to each other for the majority of the or pretty much the remainder of their lives together, until a demon shows up out of nowhere and then assaults both of them, I guess.
Yeah, of course the demon ends up, mortally wounding Yuichiro, I think, and ends up killing him.
He doesn't immediately kill Yuichiro.
Well,
he
yeah,
ends up slashing off his arm, which is causing him to lose a ton of blood. Soon after, this demon ends up attacking Yuichiro, this pretty much triggers a reaction to Muichiro just basically just go off on the demon, just go. I guess you could say just going full beast mode on the demon until he just, I don't know what he does. He just, like he says, he lets out a primal scream and then just basically just rips this demon into pieces until dawn hits.
Yeah, this all of course happens off camera, because it just cuts to the demon with his arms and legs ripped off, and he's pinned to the ground so he can't escape. And then the sun ends up, of course, killing him.
Yeah, and soon after that, Muichiro goes in to check on his brother, but unfortunately he's about to die from blood loss. So Yuichiro spends pretty much his last moments praying to Buddha. Just I guess in a way he's repenting for all the bad things he said to his brother, and hoping that his brother leads a much more better life than he does.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic, but I mean I did find it interesting how they're like twins, but they have like, I guess, polar opposite personalities, and of course his brother dies tragically, where they were never really able to reconcile the differences until the end, I guess.
Yeah, and of course we all know that Muichiro ends up joining the Demon Slayer Corps afterwards. But in terms of his amnesia, I think it's more of him just repressing those memories himself, rather than like having gotten them from the incident from the demon.
Yeah. The one interesting thing that does get brought up in this episode, though, is the marking that we end up seeing on Muichiro on the flame, not tattoo, but the flame marking, I guess, that also shows up on Tanjiro's head. I'm really wondering about, like, it keeps getting brought up about, like, Tanjiro's, I guess, his lineage, or people who are maybe somehow related to him, and I'm kind of curious about what the connection is, I guess, between Tanjiro and Muichiro, and how they're how they're connected by this marking on their heads. And what that means.
We get to know a bit more, knowing that they're descended from like these ancient ancient warriors from the past. So it explains why they have these markings showing up in their forehead, or in terms of Muichiro, it shows up on both of his cheeks. Yeah,
and of course that happens after he ends up escaping. Well, he already escaped from the pot, I guess, but he's currently he's about to be attacked by these fish creatures. When we get back from the flashback, he's about to be attacked by them, and I think he ends up using some of his breathing techniques, I think, to get out of it.
Yeah, I think he calls it the Sea of Clouds and Haze breathing ability. So he manages to dispatch them easily soon afterwards. At the same time, he goes to confront the upper five demon, who's still focusing on his attention on the swordsmith, just still what was it? It was Haganazuka's focus on just basically just still forging that sword that he's been working on since the last episode.
Well, yeah, even when he gets the warehouse he was working in gets destroyed, he still finds a whetstone and starts working on the blade some more.
Yeah, and he also even had his left eye slashed out. Yeah. We can assume that happened off camera, but yeah. So eventually, Muichiro ends up focusing his attention on the demon again, and that's where the episode ends off. We do get some pretty neat action sequences, pretty well animated, I might add.
It was. So my problem, I kind of wanted to bring this up too, is the Crunchyroll player is absolutely terrible. I've been having issues with it where and I wonder if it's because of the servers, but the but there's just been like weird pixelization with the video, where I believe it probably has to do with the server traffic or something, as so many people watching Demon Slayer at once. I had similar problems with Attack on Titan, the final season, when new episodes of that were coming out, when it would just rebuffer and lose connection. But here it's just weird issues with the pixelization of the player, so it was actually like a little bit hard to make out what was going on at some points because of how pixelated everything was.
Yeah,
and it's weird because I don't have that issue with anything else. Like I watched the new Gundam episode today and it was completely fine, but when it comes to Demon Slayer or Attack on Titan, for instance, there's always like really bad issues with the player messing up. And it's kind of crazy to me how Crunchyroll still hasn't addressed this problem, because they should know that this is going to be like a series that everybody is going to be trying to watch at the same time. And it's going to cause issues with the servers, and it feels like they never try to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's been a recurring issue for several years at this point, even back on Attack on Titan. But looking back at the overall animation, it just, it's still next level, amazing, just like how well Ufotable can do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, I did enjoy this episode. I did. Of course, this doesn't, feature Tanjiro in this episode, but but like I said, it's mostly focused on Muichiro for the entirety of the episode. But I think it was a great way to show off his backstory for the first time in a proper manner.
Yeah. Every time we get one of these characters' backstories, it usually seems to have, well, not always, but it almost seems like there's always some kind of a death flag with that. Like we get to know their entire backstory, then they die in like the next episode or something. But it doesn't always happen, because it didn't really happen with Tengen, even though it seemed like he might have died a few times. But yeah, that was the case with Rengoku, however, where we like got his whole backstory and then he ends up dying, of course.
Yeah, we did get like some backstories with some of the other Hashiras. I think it was is it the butterfly Hashira? Was it? It was a Shinobu. We got a little bit of her backstory and her sister. What was it? Kanai as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was shared. What was it with Kanao as well? I think maybe there might be a little bit more backstory with Shinobu later, but yeah, I think like in terms of Muichiro, I think he's I have doubts that he might end up dying in this battle. Maybe it'll stick around a little bit longer until, I guess, the final battle against pretty much the final battle against Muzan.
Yeah, I kind of predict that there'll probably be more of we'll probably get more on Mitsuri as well, since this season 3 also she seems to be one of the major characters. And she's kind of been absent for the past couple episodes too, so I'm kind of I feel like it's time for her to actually show up at some point and do something.
Yeah, she is still preoccupied with I guess protecting the chief of the swordsmiths, so hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of that. But in terms of like what the next episode's gonna be, it's gonna be another Muichiro focused episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about the episode. I did like it, Muichiro's backstory. It's, I would say it's not the most original thing ever, but it's still fine. And of course the animation has always looked great, even though it was kind of hard to see at times just because of the issues I've been having with the player. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say about the episode.
Like I said, it was a good episode. Definitely on trend with all the other Hashira backstories that we've seen prior. But I think Muichiro's, I think it's one of the better backstories we've seen of the Demon Slayer cores so far.
Yeah, I would agree. It's I I did feel like it shared some similarities with I keep forgetting his name. The other guy that we got his backstory of earlier.
You mean Genya?
Yeah, Genya. It felt very similar to that, but there were some interesting things about it too. But yeah, that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.